Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. Today, we're exploring a fascinating piece of US currency history, the 1986 1-cent coin. Over the next hour, we'll uncover the unique details of this penny, its historical background, how it reflects American culture, and why it remains such an appealing find for collectors. Stay with me as we work through every interesting feature and fact surrounding this tiny yet significant piece of American numismatic history. And, as always, we'll reveal the current value of this intriguing coin toward the end. Let's start with a close look at the coin itself. First off, this 1-cent piece is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, a run that began back in 1959 and carried on through 2008. When the first Lincoln Memorial penny was struck, it marked 150 years since Abraham Lincoln's birth. For decades, this design graced American currency and became an iconic image in households, pockets, and penny jars across the country. On the 1986 penny, we see Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile on the obverse side, a symbol of American resilience, integrity, and leadership. Looking at the front, or obverse side, of the 1986 penny, you'll find a portrait of Lincoln, which was originally designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design has been a staple of American currency since 1909, the centennial of Lincoln's birth. His image on the coin carries a lot of meaning, with Lincoln gazing confidently forward, representing progress and freedom. Above his head is the word liberty, reminding us of the core American value that Lincoln himself fought to uphold. To the right of the image, you'll see the date, 1986, marking the year of issue, and under that, a small mint mark, indicating where the coin was minted. If you see a D mark, it means the penny was struck in Denver. No letter indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. Each of these small details adds to the story of this particular penny. On the reverse side, the 1986 penny displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design that's both simple and powerful. Frank Gasparo, an engraver for the U.S. Mint, designed this reverse image, which was first introduced in 1959. It's more than just a memorial, it represents national pride and unity. If you look closely at the Lincoln Memorial on the coin, you can even spot the tiny image of Lincoln's statue in the center, a tribute to the great man honored within that historic monument in Washington, D.C. Above the memorial, the phrase, United States of America, arches proudly, and directly below it, the Latin phrase, E pluribus unum, reminds us of the nation's motto, out of many, one. At the very bottom of the coin, you'll see the word 1 cent, a straightforward declaration of the coin's value, though as we'll discuss later, it's worth far more than just a cent to collectors today. The materials used in making the 1986 penny are also notable. The early Lincoln cents were originally made of a high-quality copper alloy, giving them that rich, distinctive color. However, in 1982, due to the rising cost of copper, the U.S. Mint made a change. They switched from using nearly solid copper to a core of 99.2% zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This new composition applied to the 1986 penny as well. While this change may seem minor, it makes the coin unique compared to earlier copper-based pennies and demonstrates how economic factors influence the coin-making process. The change in material gives the 1986 penny a slightly lighter weight compared to earlier coins. Understanding the history surrounding 1986 helps add context to this coin. The mid-1980s were a time of growth and transition in the United States. Ronald Reagan was president, the country was experiencing economic changes, and there was a renewed focus on patriotism. Coins, especially those featuring figures like Lincoln, became symbols of national pride. The penny in your hand, from 1986, carries the spirit of that era. It reminds us of the values of hard work, determination, and the importance of remembering history. Collectors are always interested in specific features, variations, and mint errors. The 1986 penny is no exception. Over the years, the U.S. Mint has produced a number of coins with unintentional flaws, often due to small mistakes in the minting process. These errors make some 1986 pennies highly collectible. For instance, look for double dies, where parts of the design are doubled, creating a layered effect. Another common error to watch for is off-center strikes, where the design is slightly misaligned on the coin. These errors give each penny a unique character and can add significant value for collectors. The 1986 penny is also interesting from a historical perspective. For many of us, it represents the coins we grew up with, a piece of everyday life. Yet, as common as it may have seemed, the 1986 penny holds a certain charm that's linked to its age and connection to American history. As the penny evolves over time, each year of issue represents a unique moment in history, and each coin that remains in circulation becomes a small piece of our collective memory. Keeping coins like this in good condition can increase their value. Over time, coins tend to accumulate wear and scratches from handling and circulation, but those kept in near mint or uncirculated condition are prized among collectors. Coins that were stored safely, away from moisture and excessive handling, often retain their original shine and detail. These well-preserved coins are the ones collectors seek out and pay higher prices for, as they showcase the artistry and historical significance of the penny in its best form. For those wondering what this 1986 penny might be worth today, it's time for the big reveal. While many 1986 pennies are still valued at just 1 cent, certain well-preserved examples or those with unique mint errors can fetch a much higher price. Some of the rarest, most sought-after 1986 pennies have been known to reach values that might surprise you. In fact, an exceptional 1986 penny can be valued at around $113,000, making this humble coin a true treasure in the world of collecting. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. The second one coin of this video is from 1988 USA 1 cent. Over the next hour, we'll take a deep look at the history behind this penny, explore its unique design, and uncover why this particular coin holds a special place in the world of coin collecting. If you're a collector or just curious about the hidden stories of the coins in your pocket, this one's for you. And stick around until the end for the current value of this coin, as you might be surprised to learn just how much it can be worth. So, let's start with a bit of history. This 1988 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the earlier, wheat penny design and continued on until 2008. When the U.S. Mint unveiled this design, it marked the first time an actual U.S. monument was featured on circulating coinage. The Lincoln Memorial was chosen as it not only symbolizes Lincoln's legacy but also embodies a national pride. On the obverse side of the 1988 penny, we see the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln. Sculptor Victor David Brenner designed this portrait back in 1909, and it's become one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. When you look at the obverse, you'll notice Lincoln gazing off into the distance, a subtle nod to his role as a visionary leader who guided the nation through the Civil War. Right above Lincoln's head, we see the word liberty, a fundamental value that Lincoln himself fought to preserve. Beside him, the date, 1988, is stamped along with a small mint mark, which tells us where the coin was produced. If there's a D mint mark, it indicates the coin was struck in Denver. If there's no mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. These little details give each coin its unique story and identity. On the reverse side, we find the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful symbol of unity. The design was crafted by Frank Gasparo, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver, who brought the monument to life in intricate detail. What's truly special is that if you look closely enough, you can actually see a tiny depiction of Lincoln's statue right in the center of the memorial. This is a detail that often goes unnoticed but adds depth to the coin's design. Above the memorial, the words United States of America arc across the top, and below that, E pluribus unum appears, a phrase meaning, out of many, one, which reflects the unity and diversity of the country. At the bottom, the words 1 cent make it clear this coin's value, even though its worth may be much greater to collectors today. One interesting aspect of the 1988 penny is the material it's made from. Originally, pennies were almost entirely copper. However, starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a more affordable composition due to the rising cost of copper. The core of the 1988 penny is primarily zinc, with a thin layer of copper. This change may seem minor, but it creates a distinction between earlier and later Lincoln cents. The switch to zinc also made the penny lighter, giving it a slightly different feel compared to older, heavier copper coins. Beyond its design and composition, what makes the 1988 penny a sought-after find for collectors? One major factor is condition. Well-preserved coins with minimal wear, especially in uncirculated condition, are highly desirable among collectors. Another important factor is the presence of mint errors, which can make a coin unique. A few known errors on the 1988 penny include the double die effect, where parts of the design appear doubled, and off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. These errors can turn a regular penny into a collectible worth much more. The year 1988 is also historically significant in American culture. Ronald Reagan was concluding his presidency, and George H.W. Bush would soon become the 41st President of the United States. It was a period of transition and change, and this 1 cent coin is a small piece of that time. The coin reflects not only a design but a moment in history, a connection to an era that shaped the modern U.S. The Lincoln Memorial penny itself is iconic, often taking us back to moments in American history. Lincoln's image has remained consistent on the penny for over a century, and each year the design has continued to connect with new generations. When you hold a penny from 1988, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a tiny, tangible piece of American heritage. As with any collectible, rarity and condition play a big role in a coin's value. In general, collectors look for coins with minimal scratches, no tarnishing, and sharp details. Coins that have been carefully stored and avoided circulation retain their original shine and command higher prices. So, if you happen to have a 1988 penny in great condition, it might be worth more than you think. Finally, we come to the value of this special 1988 penny. Although many 1988 pennies are valued at just 1 cent, certain coins in exceptional condition or with rare errors can fetch significant sums. So, what is the value of this particular penny, you ask? A top-quality, well-preserved 1988 penny could be worth up to $103,000 to a collector, making it an incredibly valuable find for anyone lucky enough to come across one. Thanks for tuning in and exploring the 1988 USA 1-cent coin with me. Whether you're a collector or simply curious about the history behind your coins, I hope you enjoyed this journey into the story and value behind the 1988 penny. And now we're going to take a journey through time as we explore the unique story behind the 1989 USA 1-cent coin, often simply known as the penny. This is a coin that may look like any other small change, but it has a surprising amount of history and value packed into its design, material, and cultural significance. If you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who enjoys uncovering hidden gems in everyday objects, you're in the right place. We'll discuss the design details, historical context, and hidden features of the 1989 penny, so settle in and get ready to learn more about this little piece of American heritage. Let's start by looking at the design of the 1989 penny. On the front, or obverse side, of this coin is an image that every American knows well, the profile of President Abraham Lincoln. This design, crafted by the sculptor Victor David Brenner, has been on the penny since 1909, and it has become one of the most iconic images in American coinage. When you look closely at Lincoln's profile, you'll see the craftsmanship that went into capturing his thoughtful expression and the distinct features that make Lincoln so recognizable. His gaze, directed slightly upward, gives the impression of a leader contemplating the future, fitting, given that Lincoln led the country through one of its most challenging periods. Just above Lincoln's head, the word "liberty" is engraved, reminding us of one of the core values that Lincoln championed. The year 1989 is prominently displayed on the right, letting us know this coin's specific place in the history of Lincoln pennies. Right next to the date, you may see a small mint mark. This letter indicates where the coin was made. D represents the Denver Mint, while the absence of a mint mark signifies that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Each of these small details gives the coin its own story, and collectors often look for mint marks when determining the value and origin of a penny. Turning over to the reverse side, we find the Lincoln Memorial. This design was added to the penny in 1959 as a tribute to Lincoln on the 150th anniversary of his birth. The design was created by Frank Gasparo, who brought the Lincoln Memorial to life in intricate detail. If you look closely, you can even make out a tiny depiction of Lincoln's statue inside the memorial, a remarkable detail that adds a unique layer of depth to this everyday coin. Above the memorial are the words, United States of America, with the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one, just below. At the bottom, the coin states its denomination, 1 cent, boldly showing its value, even though to collectors it could be worth so much more. What makes the 1989 penny particularly interesting to collectors is its composition. This year's penny, like others from the mid-1980s onward, is made primarily from zinc with a thin copper coating. This change was made in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper, which had made the previous, mostly copper pennies expensive to produce. The transition to zinc gave the penny a slightly different weight and feel, making the later coins distinct from their predecessors. For collectors, these changes in material can make even small differences between pennies seem significant, and some collectors prefer one type of penny over another based on these subtle characteristics. Another factor that can increase the value of a 1989 penny is its condition. Collectors look for coins that have been well preserved, with minimal wear and no tarnishing. Coins that haven't been handled much or circulated heavily tend to have sharper details and a better shine, making them more attractive and valuable. If you happen to come across a 1989 penny in pristine condition, it could be a hidden treasure worth adding to your collection, adding to its charm. The year 1989 itself holds significance in American history and culture. This was a time of change in the United States, with George H.W. Bush assuming the presidency and the Cold War nearing its end. Cultural landmarks like the Berlin Wall were about to fall, and the world was on the brink of major shifts. While these pennies may seem like small artifacts, they serve as reminders of the times they were minted in, embodying the hopes and challenges of that era. Now, let's talk about some of the intriguing era varieties that can make a 1989 penny even more valuable. Collectors are always on the lookout for mint errors, as these can turn an ordinary coin into a rare and desirable piece. Some of the known errors on 1989 pennies include double die varieties, where parts of the design appear doubled, and off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. These kinds of mint errors can be fascinating for collectors and add an element of uniqueness to the coin. As you can see, there's a lot to appreciate about the 1989 penny. It may be small, but it carries a wealth of historical, cultural, and design significance. Whether you're interested in the craftsmanship that went into Lincoln's portrait, the details of the Lincoln Memorial, or the era it represents, this penny has something to offer. Now, let's get to what many of you have been waiting for, the value. While most 1989 pennies are worth just a cent, certain ones with rare conditions or errors can be far more valuable. So, if you find a well-preserved 1989 penny, keep it safe, as it could be worth as much as $97,000 to the right collector. Thank you for joining me in exploring the story of the 1989 1-cent coin. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden value and history of everyday coins, please like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating coin stories.